Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful Thursday morning in the neighborhood, and this is a entry into my car chronicles. And of course, as usual, I'm rushing off to work, but I wanted to come this morning and talk a little bit about something that I saw the other day on social media. Of course, y'all know me in these doggone groups. I swear I don't know why I keep punishing myself, because I just get so upset. Like, I really do. I think one of the reasons that I remain in a lot of these different groups is because I keep telling myself that, I want to expose myself to divergent perspectives and opinions, and I'm aware that you honestly and truly don't grow by continuing to have conversations with people who already agree with your point of view. Hence I think that's one of the reasons why the country is in so much trouble, because we don't have conversations that are meaningful and of value. Civil conversations. Let me preface, we don't have civil conversations with people that are meaningful and of value. We tend to have bubble conversations with people who already, for the most part, agree with whatever it is that we're talking about, and don't challenge us to either defend or explain or justify why we continue to carry certain behavior or have certain philosophies and ideology. And I think that that's detrimental to our, number one, to our psyche and our overall growth and development, but to a greater extent, it's destructive and damaging to society at large, because you have these pockets of people who actually believe things that are just crazy, child. So anyway, what I saw was a post, and this young lady, this particular group, I told you I'm in this group for women who want to be married and are looking for husbands. And my cousin actually added me to this group. I didn't seek this group out. I didn't even know such a thing existed. And I got in, and it was like a train wreck. You're not supposed to look at that, but good Lord, what is happening? You just can't help yourself. And I will say that not all the information is terrible or bad, but some of these thought processes and teachings are so different from my core belief and my core value system. And so, it just sets my teeth on edge. Anyway, having said that, let me give my disclaimer. These are my thoughts, my ideas, my perspectives, my rants, and they may or may not jive with you. And if they do not, my camera is just wobbly this morning, but if they do not, okay. So this particular post in this group says something like, the female mystique, and keeping some things to ourselves as women and not disclosing everything to our men. And I'm all for that. I don't think that we have to disclose everything. I fail to be able to not do that, especially if I am asked a direct question. Like, if you ask me directly, I'm gonna tell you. You asked me. So I don't know that I do the feminine mystique very well, at least not to people that I know. Now, if you don't know me, you might be thinking all kinds of stuff, and I won't necessarily tell you. But yeah, if you know me, you pretty much know what's going on, because I told you, child. Anyway, so the feminine mystique part of that is, we don't disclose everything to our men, and yada yada yada. They leave some things to the imagination. Okay, cool. But then the other part of the post was, we don't burden him with trauma. I can't remember if she said childhood trauma, but we don't burden him with trauma. So I very politely commented that, as you all should know, if you've seen my vlog, maybe some of you guys who are new haven't seen my vlog that I uploaded last year, I am a survivor of childhood molestation and fondling. And I have done a lot of personal work, but my life's work now is to speak my truth and assist other women who have also gone through sexual violation, particularly as children, and giving them, number one, comfort and encouragement and motivation to come out of that, to help them get to resources that would help them to process what has happened to them so that they can lead better lives. It's also a matter of it's a way to commiserate, oddly enough, over this terrible experience that we have. But the problem is that many of us have it. 1 in 5 girls is sexually violated in this country. 1 in 20 boys is sexually violated in this country. That statistic is staggering. So when you see that, there is no feminine mistake. Like, we all have been there, and a lot of times it's been at the hands of men. And if we can't discuss this with the men in our lives, I don't know who we're supposed to discuss this with amongst ourselves and just go to therapy. That one thing, it almost took me out, because I thought to myself, this cannot be life. You cannot advocate for hiding these types of trauma. And then someone was saying, well, that's what therapists are for. And, you run the risk of attracting narcissists and people who are going to use that information against you. Let me tell y'all something. Okay, first of all, disclosing anything about yourself could compel anybody to be a user if that's who they are. And if you've attracted that, then your picker is off. Your selector is off. And narcissism, for what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen, I need to just say that I have been adamantly saying that we really need to stop throwing narcissism and narcissists around as if it's just, it's secondary to breathing. And we give people those labels who express and exhibit any type of behavior that is distasteful to us, any type of self-centered and self-serving behavior. We label that as narcissism. That's not narcissism, y'all. Come on now. That's not narcissism. They may have some tendencies and some traits of a narcissist, but they're not narcissistic. That's like me saying, I'm excessively thirsty, I'm a diabetic. I'm not a diabetic. I'm thirsty. I might be dehydrated. What I said a while ago is some people are just assholes. Yeah, some people are just assholes. They're not narcissists, though. And I think it's disingenuous, and it definitely diminishes the pain and suffering that people who have actually come in contact with a narcissist, people who have actually come in contact with those behavioral deviations, people who have actually been wounded and now suffer from some form of PTSD from having had to deal with a narcissist. It diminishes and trivializes their experience. And so we got to stop doing that. So no to narcissism. But, for drawing people who use you, or drawing people who will use things against you, or use your truth against you, people have the tendency to do that. And you need to figure out whether or not this person is worth your trust and worth your value. That's not feminine mistake. That's wisdom. You don't just disclose everything. But I'm going to tell you, if I'm in a relationship with a man and he loves me, he loves all of me, I'm going to tell him about what happened to me in my past. I'm going to tell him where I am psychologically. I'm going to tell him how I process that and how it may or may not affect me at this particular point in time. Fortunately for me, I don't have very much residual issue surrounding the events of my childhood, or the events of my childhood trauma. I do, however, have a very short tolerance for people who put children in harm's way, and people who do not think about those that they have around their kids. Yeah, I have a really difficult time with that. I really do, and I'm very outspoken about that. I need for my man to understand why I might snap off, or why I might approach someone and gently tell them that they should be concerned about, their child. Just, FYI. I recently told my cousin, she's my cousin, but my cousin's got a little girl who is breathtakingly beautiful. She is just absolutely gorgeous. Big, beautiful eyes. I think that they're gray and kind of like the sandy brown, sandy blonde hair. Just beautiful caramel skin. She's just a little doll. She is. And her mom wants to get her into modeling. And, as someone who dabbled in the modeling industry, my experience was that it was very dark, and there are some things in that industry that are not conducive to well-being, and everything is not a supermodel Victoria's Secret presentation, and I'm just gonna say that. But she created an Instagram page for her daughter. Okay. And, she wanted, people to go like her Instagram page and, look at her daughter and, support her, but more importantly, she wanted to get scouts or talent scouts or, people who are casting agents to discover her daughter. Okay, that's what a momager does. You put your daughter out there. But I just, I just sent her a little note and I said, cousin, the baby is gorgeous, and she is, I meant that. Just be careful about, pedophiles online and, people who like little children being exposed and privy to her photos. You can't control it. You really, really can't. Those people are disgusting, and they got a whole underground network that they utilize. And from what I understand, the FBI or other law enforcement agencies monitor the dark web 24/7, and they're constantly breaking up rings, and these rings are constantly figuring out a new way to escape detection because they're sick individuals. But I just wanted to put that bug in her ear. And so she said she was aware, but she was very thankful, and she said thank you, for bringing that to my attention. Of course, we need to protect the babies, protect all the babies. So anyway, back to this group. So I made my comment. There were a couple of women who actually dissented and felt like you don't need to tell anyone about that. And I thought to myself, this is one of the reasons why it has been so difficult for women to come forward, and in a lot of cases men. Shout out to Terry Crews for speaking his truth and actually disclosing his experience and not being ashamed of it. I'm sure that as a man, because we don't hear about that in this country, women are predators too. Yes, we are, ladies. We are predators too. And we've got to get away from this notion that men can't be violated, because they can. And I'm going to say this. I was just as crazy over my sons as I was my daughters. And I was not about to play that, no, you 20 years old and my son is 15. It's nothing that you can teach him. It's nothing that you need to show him. That's disgusting. And that's rape. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if it is consensual, because if it was my 15-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old man or a 22-year-old man who was sniffing around her, I would have to slap his head around in a circle. I'm not kidding. That's disgusting. We got to stop acting like these little boys are impervious to being sexually violated. That's why a lot of them grow up and they're disjointed and all discombobulated and fragmented, because we allowed them to have experiences that weren't meant for them in childhood with these grown behind women. And in a lot of cases, parents celebrated this mess. Y'all know that women are more mature than men. Coming up, we develop faster. So please help me understand if that's the case. That first of all, that's been used to justify these dirty old men going after these young behind girls. Oh, girls mature faster, and have these child bride marriages and carrying on because she's supposed to be so mature. Girl can barely say all of her multiplication facts, and she in a whole relationship with somebody talking about some, this is my husband and he's 60 some odd years old. Anyway, that's just disgusting, but that's another topic. But tell me why, if we really believe that women mature faster than men, what is it that a 20-year-old woman has in common with a 14-year-old boy? What y'all talking about? Because theoretically, he's about 8 years old in his development. 8 or 9 years old in his development. His whole world is, I can't reference it now for young men. I'll say that when my sons were 14, 13, 14, 15 years old, their whole world consisted of Dragon Ball Z, Mortal Kombat, and what game was coming out in the fall. I spent the majority of my time taking them back and forth to play basketball and to go to the Blockbuster because they had, the games that you can rent. Yeah, that was about it. So I don't know what some grown woman who should be in her first or second year of college is doing with my high school sophomore. I'm not condoning that. That's disgusting, and that is a sexual violation, and I would have gone completely off if I had known anything about that. Anyway, so my closing comment is that we've got to stop with this hiding. I believe strongly that malignant things like to grow in the dark. dark things grow where there's no sunlight. In order for you to kill it, you need to drag it out into the light. And that means sometimes you need to disclose certain things that have happened to you, not for yourself. I mean, even though there's some healing in talking about it and not re-victimizing yourself, liberating yourself from the shame of victimhood, but also to be able to talk about it in a way that other women can identify with it and gain strength from your progression and from your overall growth and healing. They too know that they can overcome that stuff, but sometimes you just need to know that you're not by yourself. And I don't understand what we're hiding that from, all in the name of not burden. Excuse me. That word, burden. Okay. Anyway, I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Y'all have a great day. I'm about to choke to death. Have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.